It's fine with me, thank you. It's fine. Hi everyone, good evening. Oh, it's afternoon over there. Good afternoon, guys. Thank you so much for this, platform. So I have two questions basically. I got admission to Prairie View University for to study computer information system. However, of course, I'm interested in having scholarship. Well, I was wondering if how I could probably I don't know, translate this scholarship. Sorry, the admission. I don't know if there's a pathway, where this based on this scholarship, admission rather, I can get scholarships, or I still have to go through the full route of, starting to apply, reaching out to, graduate coordinators, advisors, and go through the whole route. I was just wondering if there was any, I could leverage this existing admission I already have, if there's a pathway like that. Thank you. And secondly, I wanted to find out, again, this is my first time of hearing graduate research. Are there two kinds of graduate programs? I'm just wondering. Perhaps you want to explain, because I think most of you spoke on the assumption that we know, basically what graduate research means, or graduate. I mean, we do, but perhaps there are some details that you're privy to that we do not. Well, I do not understand. So I was wondering if could maybe one of the speakers could go on to explain really what the different kind of graduate programs are available here. Perhaps that's what I was asking. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
So
yes,
basically, to schools, you're either admitted as a graduate teaching assistant, or a graduate research assistant, or you're a graduate assistant, GA. So there are three ways you can get funding from schools. I think when it comes to teaching assistants, you are kind of helping an advisor, a faculty professor, like maybe you're helping with grading, you're helping with taking classes, undergrad classes. But when it comes to RA, you are being funded by a professor, by a faculty advisor. That is why you're called a research assistant. So when it's a GA, you're either working with maybe the graduate school, you are working with maybe the international student office. That's why it's called the graduate assistant. So those are the three different ways you can get. And you can also get a fellowship. Some fellowship doesn't allow you to work. Even like it doesn't. If you get a fellowship, you don't need to like be a TA or RA. It just allows you to focus solely on your research or focus on your academics. That's basically all the ways you can get funded. Yeah.
I'm sorry, just to confirm I heard you clearly, Taiwo. You mentioned GA, GRE. I think I lost the last one.
Graduate teaching assistant. Okay. So teaching assistant is more like you're teaching a course that's maybe they're offering in your department. It's going to be based on your experience. For example, what do you study in school? Amarachi.
So I studied chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering. Okay, for example, you could be a TA in a chemistry class. Or maybe chemical engineering class. That is basic maybe for bachelor's students or something. So they will fund you based on that.
Oh, and research is you're helping your...
Yeah, research is you're working on a research that has a grant. So there's a grant for a research. And so you're working with your major professor, with whoever has that grant to accomplish some task. It's always two-way. You could be working as a graduate research assistant with a professor, and you're working on your own thesis as that research. And it could come that the funding you are working on, I mean, the funding for your GRE now, graduate research assistant, is entirely different from the thesis you have to work on. They are going different paths. So you have to do two things. It's more tough that way. Like you have to be doing two things simultaneously, working on your thesis, also working on that research, because that's what you are being funded on, just in case if there's no funding for your thesis, or if you want to do something entirely different. But it's always good if probably your research is the same with your thesis work. So that way you're just working on that research, you are being paid for that research, but at the same time, it's benefiting you for your research, for your thesis, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess there are people who have, their funds to pay through whatever fees the school is, tuition fees, right? Do you really have to go through the GA, GRE, or GTA routes as a master's or PhD student? you can probably just pay your fees and go to school, right?
Yeah, US is more than willing to accept you if you have your money. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you have money, they are more
Okay.
than willing to accept you.
So how would you advise? I was so basically my profile is, I studied chemical engineering out of school, raising kids, and now I'm ready to go back. However, in 2020, I got into tech, and I've worked for 2 years with Indeed. And I'm going back. Just to beef up, is there anything, I probably would have to do to get the scholarships? Or, I don't know, how would you advise I go around this, considering that's my profile?
Yeah, I think I'll just hand it over to Covenant to answer the question there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Covenant, do you want to answer it? Okay.
All right. I did hear the question, but I'm not sure I got every part of the question. Could you just quickly go over the question, please?
Okay. Yes, Covenant, I can go over it. So I said, I was giving a breakdown of my profile, or, history rather. I studied chemical engineering, 2015.
Yeah.
However, I took a break, to raise family, and now I'm ready to go back to school.
All right.
2020, I got into tech through, a boot camp. I became a product manager with Indeed. So I've worked with Indeed for 2 years.
Yeah.
And, I applied to Prairie View to study computer information system, and I got it. Funny enough, I don't even know whether it's a GA, GRE, or GT. I'm just hearing all these terms for the first time.
Okay.
However, based on your current experience and, knowledge, is there any gap I need to fill, so that I can attract these scholarships more? I've given you a rundown of my background. Is there something I need to start doing, or intensify? I don't know.
Well, I don't think there's a problem with having like a 2 years gap. Like there's too much of a problem. I think it depends on like how you put your profile together. But the first thing that I would like to ask is, though you did give like a rough an explanation of what the profile looks like and your work experience, but I would also like to ask if all through that period you did have things that can stand as a research experience. For instance, do you have a publication out of it? Do you have like a form of research collaborations that you did alongside that? Do you understand what I'm trying to say in that sense? So I don't think it's a problem for graduate schools, particularly if you're applying for a scholarship that involves everything that has been explained, a GA, a GRA, TA, and RA in that sense. But I would love that in between that period of time that you were not actively involved in academia, that you actually have something to show for it. Probably a publication, probably a research collaboration or something. And if you don't, I will still say that you should go ahead and apply. I don't think there's a problem with your profile in terms of applying for a scholarship. Did that help?
Yes, it did. It did. Thank you.
Right.
Can I ship in something?
Please go on.
Okay. Amarachi.
Yes.
I'm certain that there is no problem about that because I had 4-year gaps. I graduated in 2018 and I got my offer in 2022. It was the first time I was even applying to the US. I've always channeled my application into Chevening, Commonwealth, and other areas. But as Covenant has said, if you can just have some other activities you did during those periods. For example, I was doing volunteering for so many societies, actually, both online and offline. I was doing that. I was also taking up personal programs myself. I initiated some programs within those 4 years. Once I lose the scholarship, let's say for this application session, for the period, there was a year I applied for Chevening, Commonwealth, Erasmus. I lost the 3. Then I had to go in, join there's one leadership society in Lagos when I moved to Lagos. So I joined them and I participated, included it in my CV, and it's also appeared in my SOP. I did it again the following year, still same, and I continued improving myself. That was it. So it's not a problem.
Can you still get the scholarship while you've started studies already? I mean, I already have admission, right? And I hope to go in August. So can I still apply for distance while studying?
Okay,
yeah, that's a possibility.
That's when you arrive in the US. Most times, once you have the required CGPA or the required GPA, they give you, for example, in my department, if you come into the mathematics department of Georgia State University and you don't have funding at the initial stage, while you are moving to the second semester, if you have a 3.0, at least a 3.0, you definitely be doing it.
All right, so I think we just go to the next question. Thank you so much, Amash, for those questions. Daniel, can you unmute? Just ask your question.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. I'm a mechanical guy, and I want to ask questions because from testimonies I've been seeing more of the business guys, the English guys, the weather guys giving testimonies of how they got scholarship. So I want to ask about core engineering like mechanical, chemical. So what are the strong possibilities? Because I have intentions of going in for mechanical and aerospace engineering in Davis University in California. So I'm asking that because since I've been asking other people, some of my colleagues in the US, so what are the possibilities? So now in this forum, I'm trying to ask that again. So also, and I have another question. The other questions goes to what are the chances between the teaching assistants, the graduate, that's the research, and the graduate assistant. So which one has the highest possibility if I may want to go for one? Thank you.
All right, can we have Comfort to answer that question?
Sorry, so I sort of lost the question. Please, can you repeat your question again?
Okay, my question goes like this. I've been hearing testimonies from the business guys, the artists, the law guys, but I've been getting lesser testimonies from the engineering guys. So chemical, mechanical, electrical. So what are the possibilities there in the US for a mechanical guy like me? And also, what are the chances, the possibilities between the graduate research, the assistant, and the teaching? So which of them has more possibilities if I want to go for one?
Okay, so to answer your question, let me first of all state that engineering programs also have a tons of scholarship in the US. So I don't think they are biased towards engineering. It's just if you're able to rightly search for schools and you'll be able to get a whole lot of schools. I think there's someone here, Seth, that is even an engineer. Yano Lua is here. He's in UC Davis and he's an engineer as well, and he got engineering class. I have a friend here as well who did chemical engineering. So I don't think US is biased towards engineers. I have a lot of engineers that are on scholarship. Then secondly, I don't think I'll be able to answer your question if you are going to be tilting towards a graduate research assistantship or a teaching assistantship, because most time it depends on the school. Some schools only have funding in form of teaching assistantship, and some schools only have funding in form of GSR or something. You must have like a PI before you're able to get into the department, because the PI is supposed to pay you through grants and all of that. So I think that question is sort of school specific, and it's not something I can sort of give like a general advice on. So it depends on the school. Some schools do fellowship, like UC Davis, like my program for your first 2 quarters is fellowship. Then after that, you now decide if you are going to do teaching assistantship or research assistantship. So for me, I think that question is sort of generic, and it's not something I can give like a specific answer to. So the most important thing is searching out for schools, knowing the school's requirements, knowing the program you're applying to, because the school can have a different requirements, program can have a different requirements as well. So you knowing the school and the program's requirements and meeting those requirements, knowing the funding policy for that school and for that program. Just like I said, like Scholar Yano that is here, we don't have sort of same funding policy because we're in different programs. So you need to know what is program specific. And so I don't know if that sort of answers your question, or
yeah,
I have to
did a great job. Yeah, and about the engineering thing, myself, I'm an engineer, right? Bro Adewale Sedara is also an engineer himself. So most everyone on this call that are facilitating today are most likely in sciences. So you would get more funding in sciences than in arts and commercial, I mean, business related that you mentioned. There are more funding in science because you getting scholarship in the US is all about funding, as it were. So you should, I mean, there's aerospace in Iowa State if you want to come to Iowa State. So you have aerospace in other universities as well. So just make sure you stretch your tentacle and apply to different schools as much as you can.
Okay, thank you. So another question was this. So sorry, I want to ask somebody that has a an ND, HND, C&G, then a BSc. Should I just use the BSc to go for it, or I should use all my academic qualification?
I think that should go to Kemi. Will she be able to answer the question? All right. I'm not sure if she's able to. All right. If she's not able to, I'll just say, basically, you should use your bachelor's. I mean, I might be biased since I have a bachelor's, right? So that's why I wanted Kemi to really answer that. Maybe she would have another, she would have a different opinion.
Okay, so I think I have something to say about that. I think using all your degrees sort of gives you a higher advantage, because if you are going to be using I think you said you have like an ND, right? And you're going to be using your BSc. Yeah, it's going to be showing that you sort of have like two different degrees. So for me, I would advise you. Why am I re-echoing? So, oh, I don't know why. But I think I would advise you to. I can't talk. Man, I'm
mute, sorry.
Okay. So I think you need to use like all your degrees, because if you were to do a website evaluation, you will definitely be adding your ND and all of that. So for me, I think you need to use like all your, because it's going to give you like a higher chance, knowing that. And besides, your ND is more of technical related, right? You would do a lot of technical stuff. So I think it's going to give you like a higher chance. That's sort of my own opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Kemi, I think she wanted to speak now.
Yeah, I would like to ask first if this HND and the BSc is in the same course.
Okay, yeah, the same course.
So you have ND, HND, BSc.
C&G, then BSc.
Is HND from Nigeria?
Yes, Nigeria.
Okay. So you basically have 2 degrees in the same course.
Okay.
Because yeah, some schools will interpret it as such. And then if you are going to a school that interprets it as such, you may have to like provide an explanation why. So if you would be doing this, go for schools that accept only BSc. So they would rank your BSc as over your HND and just deal with it as one degree.
Okay.
All right. Can we have the next question? And please try to ask just one question, or ask your question together so that we can take as much as we can take, because we need to round up as fast as we can, because it's late already back there in Nigeria. I mean, for me, it's probably about 6 p.m. now. Yeah, but for you, it's probably midnight. So we want to be considerate as well. All right, let's have Igwe. Bless you. Igwe, blessing.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely, we can.
I'm really grateful for such an opportunity. My questions, they are much, but I'll try to summarize them. By the grace of God, I'm a HND holder in crop production technology and an aspect in agriculture. And my ND, the course I took in ND was okay, somehow related to animal health or animal sciences. But the course I took in HND is I came down like I narrowed it down to crop. So I want to ask, so the lady for HND, she talked about the last person that just asked question about if the courses are different. So I want to ask, my course in ND is different from the course in HND. So how do I, if I am putting it as a research assistant, if I'm applying for a research assistant? I don't know if you're getting me. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I get you.
Absolutely.
Okay. If I'm applying for a research assistant, if I would use my ND project, although I didn't publish it, if I'm going to use my ND project and that of my HND project, I don't know if it's permitted there. And the second question is, you talked about teaching assistants. And before I got admission to school, I did a lot of teaching, you know, after secondary school now, I'm going to teach. Okay, before I went for youth service, I also took some students work lessons and also class teacher. So I don't know if I am to apply for these teaching assistants, will they have any, like, how will I put it, like a degree of people you have taught? Is it secondary school students or maybe nursery school or primary school? I don't know. So that's my question.
I mean, the question is probably for Kemi.
As in for the
Okay.
Do they have any like specific class you are supposed to teach or just teaching?
When it comes to the teaching experience, I don't think it's come to specific, but you know, it's not like primary school, right? So basically, taking any like should I call it a college or higher education courses? Yeah. So like when I was having my own teaching experience, was basically jam lessons and secondary school. But I kind of put it out just like, you know, that if there is TA available, because when you're applying to schools, they will ask you if you like to be considered for scholarship. So they will ask you, you have to, I think you tick one, if you want to be considered for a teaching, for a research graduate assistantship, you have to like click on it. So it's from your profile, they will know whether you're deemed fit for a teaching assistantship. Yeah.
Okay. What about the research assistantship?
Most research assistantship comes from an advisor. It comes from a professor you are working with. So it all depends on if they are willing to take you into their lab. Maybe you've done interview with them, or from your application, they feel like you're a good fit for their lab. So that's why I say it boils down to knowing what the graduate school requires. You need to get in touch with an advisor before you apply to the school, or it's not a must. So you need to know that if it's not a must, then you can apply. So they will be the ones to decide. If they tell you to get an advice for your apply, so it's another thing.
All right. That's all for now.
Okay. That's all for now. Okay, so you have ND and HND, and you did different courses, but they are related.
Yes.
So this will inform what you want to do next. Where do you want to go next? Are you staying with crop production stuff, or you are going into animal production stuff? Crop production, animal production, these are research field in agriculture. If you're applying for graduate school in the US, those things that you did as a old program, that are just research area, So you shouldn't go looking for crop production or looking for animal health thing. You should look for a school that does agriculture, whatever they are doing. Then you look for professors that are working in that area you're interested in. So you have to first decide if you are interested in crop production or you are interested in animal health. Whichever one you are interested in, that is, you did a project for ND, you did a project for HND. I went with my HND project because that is more advanced than whatever you did in your ND. So you should use your HND project as your research experience. Being that you've now taught for long, you could build your CV around good teaching experience where the school will see you as a good fit for teaching assistantship. So was I able to answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. One very last question I want to ask about the exams like the GRE, TOEFL. I don't know if schools in the USA accept IELTS.
Yes, depending on the school. The school will make those information available. When you apply to a school, you will see the requirements. So some schools would accept. I think majorly most of the schools see it as the same. So they will tell you maybe 6.7 in IELTS, maybe 120 or 115 in TOEFL. They are different, but they accept that. But check with the school, check with the gallery coordinator. I think we've kind of touched on that as well. So
yeah,
just so that we take questions.
If you are going to take an English language,
please say if you have other questions, just try the questions. Okay, there's a lot of background there.
Yeah, can I come in shortly, please? If you are going to take an English language exam, please do not take IELTS. That was what I took. And then I got into some schools that says they would accept it, but they would not give me teaching assistantship unless I take TOEFL. So please, if you ever decide to take English proficiency exam, just go for TOEFL. I had a very good IELTS score. I had 7.5/9, yet I was still told to go take TOEFL.
So at this point, what we'll do is this. So we'll take all your questions because some of the questions are interconnected. So we'll take all your questions. I mean, I'll just say that the speakers should take note of the questions. So we'll not answer those questions as you're asking them. So we'll take everyone that has raised up there and just 12 of them now. So we'll take all the questions. Just ask your questions. Make sure the questions are apt enough. So don't try to elaborate or tell too many stories. If you have other questions, just send it to the Telegram page. So there are other scholars that are right there that will be able to help you. And I believe that maybe some of our speakers will also be able to join the Telegram page as well. So just join the Telegram page if you have other questions that are not being answered. But currently, we'll take all the questions from you. So you unmute, you ask your questions. Then after it, then all the speakers would come up to address whatever is it that they feel they could answer out of all those questions, please. So we don't want to take too many times. It's going to be 12 already, and we want to be considerate with you all. So just ask your question and make it very succinct, like simple enough, so that we can understand. So I will call Oluwatuyi. Ask your question. Make sure it's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for the wonderful session. Yeah. So can you hear me?
Absolutely, we can.
Okay. Yeah. So, I attended a very low population school. It was a new school. So it was after school, because most of the speakers here, I think 60% of you are Futarians, where you have a network of alumni who motivate you right from school and you have proper information about these things. So I attended a very new school where we were just about 15 in class and all that. So it was after school I got to know about most of these things. So, but then now comfort emphasized on networking and volunteering as a major key into getting into graduate school. But now, after school, I now found it out and find it very difficult to reach out to people, even especially comfort. Like my connect has been pending on a LinkedIn for a while. So just when you want to reach out to people, some people are not welcoming, and how do you get about it's sometimes can be frustrating, and I know that. so sometimes
I can feel
I
your
went to volunteer to you see people getting scared of accepting people around them and all that. So Nigerians, so people are just scared of a lot of things, of some uncertainties. So how do you go about these things? And I didn't talk about racism too. Do some of these professors maybe they want just only white? Or yes, I think I read about some schools are PW high, predominantly white institutions where they want biodiversities to maybe they want blacks and all that. So about the admission prospect too, you didn't really mention that. So those are my questions.
Thank you so much. I mean, about that, people are going through a lot as well. So what I'll just say is you can write me on LinkedIn. Then if you need to connect to anyone, I'll speak to them personally about that. But of course, they will still touch on that question. I just need to talk about that now.
All right, thank you very much.
So I am in the animation. Can you ask a question?
All right, thank you very much for this wonderful session. I've really been blessed by it. All right, so I'll just go straight to my question. I'm a final year student of University of Ibadan, studying agriculture and environmental engineering, and I have a very strong interest for soil and water conservation. So my first question is, how do I get to calculate graduating as a top 1% in my class? I really want to know, like, how do I go about the percentages? For example, now, let's say a class of 27 people or 28 people, and then how do you get to calculate? Because I know that, okay, now, maybe the best student in the class is also part of the first top 1%, but then there are still some other people that by calculation can still fall inside the top 1%. So I just want to know how to go about that. And also, I wanted to ask that by a good profile on LinkedIn, like, does it mean that I have to also like attach a great importance to posting on my page, or it's just like building the profile, or do I have to like constantly like post on my page? And then another thing, like personally, I love researches and then I read a lot of papers, but I've not really seen anyone yet. So I don't know, how do I move from a place of loving to reading them to a place of also like writing papers for publication's sake? Because I really want to. And another thing, like talking about conferences, like what type of conferences do you get to? Because there are several events at the TAG conference. So I know that there are going to be some specific conferences that you have to attend for, like, that before you can put such on your CV. So those are my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ayo, for that question. Yeah, I believe Convener would note that he would answer it when we want to answer the questions. Okay, so Rotimi, can you ask a question? You are not audible. You are not on audio. You are muted. You are muted.
All right. Good. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Firstly, a big thanks to the host and the co-host for the opportunity, given to participate in this webinar. My first question is this, or let me just run everything up here. So, can a student with, let me say, with his second class lower get a scholarship in US? Let me say started from 3.0, something like that, at least above 2.5, and being in an education school who study physics education, to be precise.
Direct answer is yes, but indirect answer is people will still answer that question. But people have gotten scholarship with 2.2 and even a third class. Yeah. But people, I mean, the scholars would answer this question when it's time. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much,
Gabo,
sir.
can you ask your question?
Thank you for this webinar. It was quite enlightening. I have a very long gap. My first degree was in 2001. So that's over 20 years ago. I had another degree, a second degree. I'm a pharmacist, my first degree, but I have another degree in international affairs and strategic studies. That is about 2011. And since then, I've not had any degree or any formal courses, although I've taken some certifications on different areas. Now, one of the speakers was talking about one of the ways for us to increase our chances is to have published work, maybe doing volunteering and attending conferences and so on and so forth. So for someone who doesn't have that all piled up, I have been doing, right now I work in the civil service. I am into supply chain, which is an area I'm also interested in, but I'm also in public, which is another area I'm interested in. So for someone who has not gathered all those conferences and the rest, and now our intention may be to see if we can get in for 2023, how can one bridge the gap between now and maybe for 2023 so that we can increase our chances by getting all those things done? That's an area I'm having some concern. I hope you got.
Yeah, we got it, sir. Thank you, sir, for that question. So we'll address it. All right. CS more.
All right. Good evening, good day to everybody. Thank you so much for this wonderful event. So my name is Rodiat and I'm from full-time and undergraduate studying applied physics. So I just wanted to ask that can I send in my application like maybe in my final year, like I have just like 8 semester transcript ready? Is it allowed to send my results? And is there a application? I don't know how it works there, but I think I heard that there's an application period where there's more funding. So maybe you can let us know when that is and when I can send my application to be admitted in 2024, like summer of 2024.
Absolutely. I'm not sure I got your question very well. Can you?
Okay, my first question is, can I apply to graduate school with 8 semester results out of 10 semesters? And the second question is there a period where there is more funding, like maybe for summer? And I'm trying to ask that if I want to get in to get admission in summer of 2024, when can I start? When can I put in my application?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. So more about application cycle. So I just believe that Olayemi is noting the questions that people are asking and Dr. Kemi. So that if I get to forget them, the slide will be shared on the Telegram page. So yeah, it will not start asking that. All right. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. Can you come up?
Okay. Good day, everyone. Thank you very much for this innovative webinar. I recently learned about this application, scholarship applications and everything. So I don't really have a full detail of it. My question is, if you're applying to these schools for the scholarship, are you applying for scholarship differently and applying for admission to the schools differently, or are they enlaced together? And also, one of the speakers were talking about profile. I don't know if it's the LinkedIn profile or is the profile in your CV. I just want people to throw more light on it.
All right. I think that's That's apt. All right. So I got that. So can we have the next person, Grace?
Good evening, everybody.
Absolutely, we can hear you. You can move on.
Okay, good evening. Thank you for this opportunity, though I came online late. Yeah, but I'm still very blessed with what I mean. I'm just a graduate of Federal College of Agriculture. I just finished. I graduated with distinction by God's grace. So
Super.
I am a crop production student, and I want to go into plant breeding, to be precise. But my fear is this the first time I will be having a thing like this, like a meeting like this, and I don't really know anything about scholarship, but I want to have one because a plant breeding project is always wide. Then I have the research I did in my HND. My project supervisor wants me to publish it. So now, how will I get information about all this scholarship? Which group? What are the things I need to do? Then, because I was hearing people talking about teaching. I don't really have any experience in teaching. Then I only have I served my sideways at IITA, International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, and also my industrial training there. So can all this also help me also in my CV? Then I started an internship at seed company, but was later stopped due to health challenge where I got lately. So I don't know how I can go about everything. So I'm just I'm a novice. Thank you.
Grace, I mean, we are more than happy. We were like you at once as well. Someone will definitely answer your question when it's time. So yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So now I want to be careful with how I pronounce this name. But the next person is maybe I'm going to have a silent M. Freke Udo. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that right, but so you can ask your question.
All right. Please, can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Good evening or good day, everyone. Thank you very much for this very informative session. I just want to know if there are opportunities, like graduate opportunities for medical graduates who may want to, go into the master's or PhD routes. Yeah, that's my question.
Can you take that again?
Okay, I mean, are there graduate opportunities for medical graduates? They have different peculiarities compared to other graduates, graduates from other fields. So are there opportunities for them to take up masters as well as PhD programs there in the United States? That's my question.
Simple answer is yes, but I mean, Covenant will probably answer it when it's time.
All right.
All right. So, Martin Oluwatuyi, can you come up with your question?
All right, thank you. My question is, I had OND and HND, and I'm about to write my final paper for Bachelor of Engineering this month. So, and I did direct entry. That's 3 years, 300 level, 400 level, 500 level. And most time that I read from a graduate for the application, they will say 4 years, 4 years. Can I apply with this 3 years direct entry transcript from university? Or I should attach my OND, HND together with it?
All right. I believe it's still Kemi that will answer this question, but I might be able to answer it a little bit as well. But yeah, we'll answer that question. Thank you, Martin. So let's
thank you.
Onimisi to come up with this question. Onimisi, we can't hear you. Onimisi, you are not audible.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I said I want to appreciate the team for taking out their time to profile this insightful information to us. So yeah, I would like to make a request and also ask the question. Sorry, can you hear me?
You are still audible.
Okay, thank you. So I also sent Comfort an invite on LinkedIn, and it's still pending. So like I also have similar.
Everybody, you people should stop accusing Comfort now.
No, I'm not accusing that. I just
all right. I mean, it's busy in graduate school, so you could understand what it means. But I believe, yeah. So everyone would, if you send requests, they will respond now that they've had. All right.
Okay,
so
yeah, that is why I'm making it as a request, because I have a similar research interest with her, because I'm also interested in the field of analytical and environmental chemistry in the US. So yeah, my question is, now that I've graduated, like been building my CV, and there's this section of award and recognition, but should I say, unfortunately, I don't have any awards. So, but I feel, is there a possibility of getting an award even now that I'm a graduate? Is there a way I can do that? Is there a possibility of getting an award, or is there a way I can apply for an award or something, so that if that could be added to my CV to be like a boost?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I got a little bit of the question. So I believe Comfort might be able to answer, and then some other people also noted the question. All right. So Victoria, can you ask your question?
Oh, thank you. Finally, I was really sad that I'm going to be the last person. Because of my Victoria, it's fine. Thank you so much for the opportunity and for the time out you guys had had with us despite your tight schedule. It's really good. Yeah, it's a great privilege to hear your journey. Okay, I've actually asked my question in the chat box, but let me just buttress it like right now. I got an offer in WVU, that's West Virginia University. But during my application, when I read about the course, because I got admitted into the agricultural extension, they never requested that we should email the professor. As some schools, they'll be like, okay, until you get until you have a professor to work with, that's where you could add a funding. But unfortunately, when they gave me the admission, they never mentioned any any funding scholarship or whatsoever. It is the only asking. In fact, they've even created my email for me to start my visa process without no funding. So they asked me to mail the the program coordinator, which I actually did, but I've not received any response from him. So I don't know how best I could actually go about it, either to mail the professor, the professor I want to work with, which I've identified during my application process, or I should send a reminder to, is it polite for me to keep sending a mail to someone that never responds to my mail? I don't know how best to I don't know how to request and how to go about the graduate assistantship process. So yeah, that's just my question.
I can feel your pain. It could be hard, but yeah, someone would answer your question. Maybe, yeah, I think Adewale will be the best to answer that question. He probably had a dose of that too. All right. So let's have Funsho to ask the question.
Oh,
Good evening. Thank you for this webinar. I'm so grateful for the privilege to hear from your story. It's a blessing to us. Thank you. Going to my question, I'm a graduate of agriculture and environmental engineering, and I've had a lot of facilitators that did the same course that I did. I'm so glad to hear that and to hear how they achieve their goal. And then my question goes like this. I had my ND and my national diploma, my national diploma in agric engineering from Lagos State Polytechnic. And then I graduated with upper credit. And when I saw Islamiat testimony on LinkedIn that she, as a HND, must have a West evaluation and all those things. So I did my West evaluation lately. I just got my West evaluation. I had a 3.40 on a scale of 4 points. I want to ask, with that, because Islamia had over 3.9 something and she was able to secure PhD direct. I want to ask, because most of the departments and I've been contacting, they said fund is mostly available for PhD, and even the Florida state that I applied to, when I contacted the graduate coordinator, he said a priority is given to PhD applicants. So I want to ask, with a CGPA of 3.40, can I still get admitted into PhD program with that low CGPA? That's my first question. And also, I applied to Louisiana State University because some of our students, some of our alumni are in the school, and they motivated me, not knowing that the department, agric engineering, has to, their rules is to get an host advisor before applying. So I asked the graduate coordinator if there is graduate assistantship, and she was like, yes, there is graduate assistantship. I applied, finished, and I just got admission. There was no funding. So I have to contact the faculty members, and all of them said they do not have funding. Unfortunately, they don't have position for now. So after that, and then while I was still waiting for them, so I was hoping to define my application. That was for 2022. I deferred to spring 2023. So while I was deferring, I saw a professor of entomology that has funding on the trader. So because I personally, as I did agric engineering, but I work as an pest control. So I do a lot of entomology work in the study of flies. So, and I reached out to the professor and through code email to know whether he will be willing to take me in the same LSU. So the professor said, since we have the same overlaps and something, so he says he's going to reach back to me November. So he reached out to me in November. He said I should send my document. I sent my document. He scheduled a Zoom meeting and we had a discussion. After having a discussion, he said, thank you for interest in my program. You can apply to the department. So he said he's going to make a choice by January, February this year. So, and he said I should submit my application by December. So I submitted my application December as he stated. So hoping I'm going to get the feedback from me January, February. I did not hear anything from me. So I have to send him an email to know his decision concerned that, but he was still saying that, so he did not reply me until March 1st. I got his email and he said that he has not made a decision, that all of us are all qualified.
I mean, these are, you are really profound. You will get a funding soon because you love telling story. And I mean, storytelling is key to getting funded too. But we need it short. So what you do for me is go straight to the question you want to ask now. So we'll be able to know how to answer them.
And okay, sorry for the story.
No, I mean, that's
my story is not that if a professor said you should go and apply, do they used to change mind? That was my question, because I don't know, he was the one that said I should go and apply. Now he was telling me that we are all qualified, that he has not made a decision. So I'm being skeptical in that one. And thirdly, I would like to like people and the facilitator that did agriculture engineering to mention some of the schools that ask fund for agriculture engineering so that we can submit the application. Thank you very much.
All right. Awesome. You should come to Taiwo State. Taiwo State has our Gamba systems engineering. All right. That's me just trying to, yeah. I mean, there's agric engineering in UC Davis where Yano is, even though he's in civil, but there's agric engineering. I will send a link on the Telegram page that has all the list of all ag engineering in Canada and US. So just make sure you're on the Telegram page. And if I did forget to share that, you should ask. All right, so I think we have all the questions already.
Thank you.
So I would just I will call the speaker in the order that I have them on the screen. So they will come up and just decide to answer whichever of the question that they were able to pick that they feel they can answer, because that way we'll have everybody speak. Yeah, that will just be on a final note. Just keep it as short as you can keep it as well. So let me call on Adewale, Sedara. Which of the question can you answer? Just answer it briefly. And okay, I think we are not getting him currently. Okay, let's have Kinwale to come up.
Okay, I'm with you.
All right. So
okay. So there was a speaker who asked. There was one of the people who asked about the question about a stale mail, something like I sent a mail to the graduate coordinator and he hasn't been responding. So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, so what I do in that once it gets to that stage is that one, it depends. If the graduate coordinator has been responding to me before that time, I give it some time or I resend before resending my message. However, if after sending the first message, I do not get a reply, a response from the graduate coordinator, I go to the department's website, pick out the secretary's email or the department's email. For example, maths in GSU will be maths.gsu. It will be, I think it's grad apply at math.gsu.edu. Then we also have a secretary's email here in the math department. So I put them in the copy field, and for the TOEFL field, I still have the graduate coordinator, which is the main professor. Then I send the email. Once you send with the department's email, any of the professors will receive it because it's actually a group email. So anyone will receive it. I've seen instances where some of them will receive it, then they will tell me, dear Akinwale, I forwarded your mail to the person in charge and I've informed him or her will be contacted shortly. So all you can do is to go to their website, to the department's website, pick out the secretary's website or the department's email itself, the secretary's email or the department's email, and put it in the copy field. Send the email, we send the email with that. One of them should be able to pick it up.
All right. Thank you so much, Akinwale, for that. So Covenant, I don't know if you were able to pick some of the questions. Specifically, there was a guy that was asking about medical field. That's in Freke Udo, he was asking about medical field. I mean, you might have picked other questions as well.
All right, thank you so much, Scholar Oluwatuyi. Thank you for the opportunity. I think you already answered for the medical field, the research in medical field. And the simple answer is yes. In fact, a very big yes. All right. So for people in the medical field, although I would have loved to ask the person more questions to get more specifics, but because of our time, I'll just go directly into the things you need to know. The first thing is that if you are applying as a medical doctor, and I'm guessing that medical doctor, the other aspects of the medical field, but if you're applying as an MD, there are different routes to going into research. That means you want to go into research. In developed nations, in fact, the most respected people in biomedical research are people that have both an MD and a PhD. So it's usually termed MD PhD program. So if you go online to search for schools, particularly medically related, medically intensive research schools, you would find that most of them have an MD PhD program. So you can just go online and search for those. But you probably, because you're already an MD, because the way it works is that an MD PhD program is a program where you do both together. So it usually takes about, I think 8 years or thereabout. You probably will not want to do that, but you can still also apply. So I'm just giving you the options that are available. You can still also apply as an MD directly to a PhD research program, but you need to define what your research interest is. For instance, the example I will give you and I will tell you is that my school, I think, is one of the best schools in the world when it comes to medical research. And so we have a lot of medical students that are doing PhD. So you can apply to my school. My school is University of Alabama at Birmingham, all right? So you can go check the school out. If you want to go to the GBS program, the Graduate Biosciences program, you could look into immunology. So you should define your area of interest before you decide to apply to any of this program. But simply put, you are an MD who is probably interested in an aspect of the broad medical research field. So either it is the biochemical aspects, cancer research, or all of that. So basically that's on the MD, the PhD for MDs or medically related people. I really hope I answered your question well. I think the final thing that I picked up is concerning someone that is really interested in publishing articles. However, you've been interested, you read a lot. I think there's not too much, there's opportunities for you to publish. You probably just do not have enough of the information out there. I will simply put it this way. You can start with a review article. I started mine by writing review articles. The challenge most of the times is that you probably do not have opportunity to do research that you can publish, but you can actually, in fact, that's the best way I think you can really look into publications, look into review articles. That's you picking a topic that you find very interesting in your field. And basically a lot of us here have written TAN papers before. This is just a more advanced form of a TAN paper in that sense. So basically just look into writing a review article, a very interesting topic, probably a topic that is really, 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 hot in your field as at that particular time. In that sense, pick up that topic, do extensive reading. Since you love to read, in fact, it's beautiful. As you read, come up with an outline, write it up. There are several journals out there. This is another problem with people. People think they have to pay so much. There are journals that will be willing, good journals, not just anyhow journals, that will be willing to publish your work for free. Check for Egyptian journals. Egyptian journals are usually free. Springer journals, they are Springer journals. They're usually free for you to submit to. So that's something to consider. Another very important thing for research is look into collaborations. It helps you, it makes you move faster. So collaborate with your colleagues, with people you know that are actively involved in research, and then you can get more papers out. I really hope I was able to answer those questions, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We're so elated to kind of hear those things out. All right, so let's okay, Comfort is already coming up. Okay, Comfort, can
I couldn't sort of respond when you guys wanted me to, so I was preparing to go out. Yeah, so first of all, I would sort of like to apologize to those persons who have been calling my name or calling me out for not accepting their LinkedIn invite. Man, LinkedIn is a very funny place. Like the invites there are so much, and I barely open my LinkedIn. So most times when I open it, I'm scared and I run away. So, but I'll look for time to go through all the invites and sort of respond to everybody. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not active on Twitter, so if you want to talk to me, I think Twitter is like my safe space that you could reach me. Then somebody mentioned something about networking. I feel like some people don't even know how to network. Imagine going into somebody's DM and you're telling the person you want scholarship, like Guy Alpha. Is the person sharing scholarship? Like, so some people don't even know how to network. So for me, I feel like you should ask specific questions if you are talking with someone, not the person you want scholarship. Like most Nigerian such like this, I don't even know where people study from, and I will sort of ignore. So I think it's best you sort of have specific questions that you want to ask. You should have been able to do your own research, and you have specific questions you want to ask the person, and the person is able to respond, or you want the person to review applications, documents for you. But you should, whatever you're doing, you should show that you've started something already, you know. Than just going into somebody's DM and you're telling the person you want scholarship. Like, how do we even start? What kind of scholarships do you want? What kind of scholarship have you even searched out for? So for me, I feel like I don't think I can remember any other question because I was sort of not fully here as I was preparing to go out. So I think that's sort of what I want to say. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So she's going to answer. She's going to reply every one of you trying to reach out to her. All right. So let's have. Oh, did I make somebody else co-host? All right. So let's have Kemi. I don't know if she's still on. If she can, she was able to, because there were a lot of people asking about
Yeah. So I got Kolade's question on, oh sorry, Funshaw's question on is CGPA for PhD. Yeah, is CGPA is good enough for PhD. All he has to do is make his application competitive for whatever school he's going into. But the CGPA 3.4 on a scale of 4 is no problem. Mostly, both PhD and MS has the same CGPA requirements. It's other application packages that makes it competitive. So all he has to do is make his profile competitive, not the CGPA. He does not have a problem with that.
Just to probably reiterate, there's somebody also, Grace also talked about HND, how to get all the information about the scholarship. She's doing IT. She did IT at, she did CWES IT and all of those. So Grace had question also regarding HND. She's just talking about
Does she have HND already, or she is doing HND?
I think she. Grace, are you still there?
Yes. Yes, I'm done with my HND program. So I'll be going for service probably by July, batch B. But I did then after ND, you know, in Polytechnic, after ND1, you do your sideways. So I did that at IITA Farm Office. Then after ND2, after finishing the National Diploma Program, I did another IT. We have IT for 1 year again, but I just did 4 months at MIP department in IIT. So, but now I've graduated, I've finished my HND program as a crop production student, but my option is plant breeding. I want to be a plant breeder, but I'm just afraid of the project and not really encouraged in Nigeria here. So then another thing is I just applied for an internship program just to add to my CV as a fresh graduate in a seed company like that in Ibadan here. But I was
it's
just
good that you are going for internship. It's good that you are going for internship. It will add to your CV. Then go for your service. During your service year, apply for whether you want MSc or PhD. You should apply. But I would encourage evaluating your HND. It reduces stress. You don't have to keep explaining and explaining to schools that you have a bachelor's degree. You don't have to keep explaining to schools. So if you can evaluate while on your service year, do that and start applying. So by the time you are done with your service, you would possibly have gotten an admission fully funded and you are leaving.
Thank you so much. So Martin also asks a question. I think he's also posting that now. He asks about direct entry 3 years degree. with a 3-year degree, meaning that he did HND and now I think he did ND or so, now did a 3 years degree program to complete. I mean, so it's, which one, what was the question exactly? He said, how do I go about attaching that? Do I submit bachelor straight up or HND or the ND or with the ND or something? Because some schools actually ask for 4 years according to the question he asked. Yeah.
So if he did ND, then went for direct entry into university, so he possibly has a 3-year program with the university. In this situation, I would also encourage doing a WES evaluation. Submit your ND alongside your 3-year BSc transcripts. So they would evaluate it that you have associate degree, 2 years, that will be your ND. Then you proceeded with this associate degree into a 3-year program. So they would give you a bachelor's degree equivalent, and you would not have the same problem as somebody that has HND because you already have a bachelor's degree. You just want them to know that it's a total of 4 years because you already had 2 years associate degree. That's why you are doing an evaluation.
Awesome. So the conclusion of it, very less evaluation. All right. So there's one question about gap. I would have thought Adewale will be able to answer it, but I'm not sure it's still on. Okay, so I think basically we've touched on all of the questions. Okay, so you should answer about this. There's one man that asked about gap.
Sorry, I think someone asked if she's still an undergrad, she could submit her application, like it's 8 semesters transcript. I think yes. I've seen folks that submitted applications without even graduating. I said I have someone who didn't graduate before he submitted his application, and he was admitted based on his like 8 semesters transcript or 9 semester transcript. So it depends on how well you are able to position yourself, and it's very, very important. Yes, if you have read all your 8 semester transcript, you can go ahead and submit, but it's always advisable to know all the requirements. Get in touch with the graduate coordinator. It's very, very important.
Yeah, that's a possibility because if I finish my master's already, most of the cases, I mean, many of the cases you can get offer before you finish. Before I finish my master's, I got offer, and I kind of used the transcript I have for my master. I think that was the same also for Ian because he was in UK before moving to the US. So, all right. So, Brother Wale, so the question that Mr. Gabo asked was about gap. So he's like, I think he did his bachelor's, he finished his bachelor's 2001 or thereabout. He's talking about how does he harness those opportunities after the gap, education and all.
Okay. But what I would just say is that I think you need to like write what you've been doing during those periods you're not in school. That is what is very important. Just highlight what you have been doing for the period when you're not in school. So just try to have a kind of a one-on-one presentation or maybe virtual meeting with the supervisor or the committee and explain to them so they will get it. So it's not a problem. So far you are doing something and report it. But just try to include anything like research or maybe conferences you've attended, might even be virtual. So I think that should be okay.
Thank you so much for that. So let me see if there's still any speaker that has not spoken. Taiwo has spoken, then Kemi has spoken. Yeah, we have Convenant also. Akinwale also has spoken. So I will hand it over to Ian to probably round us up.
Hi, everyone. We just want to say thank you to everyone who has waited up until this moment. And first of all, I want to say thank you to all of our speakers, Scholar Covenant, Adewale, to himself, to Taiwo, Kemi, Comfort, thank you so much for sharing out of the wealth of your experience. You don't take this for granted, despite your busy schedule. I mean, I have a rough idea of what it means to take out time to come speak in an event like this. So thank you so much. We don't take you for granted. On behalf of the participants, we say thank you. And we also want to say thank you for the Brain Conference team for organizing this program and making it possible. I mean, some of the team members are currently in Nigeria, where the time is already past 12 midnight. So we say thank you to Tuyi, the team lead, to Olayemi, to Temi, to Peter, to Emmanuel, and everyone. We appreciate you so much. Without you, this program would not have held. And to every participant who came, who participated, who asked questions, thank you so much. We are delighted to have you here, and we are sure that very soon we'll also be inviting you to come share your testimony and to also facilitate one of our Brain Conference webinar. And so we have a few announcements. For those who are still online, we'll be sharing links to YouTube links to the video. We'll also be sharing the links to the slides via your email addresses. And if you have any question, please feel free to reach out to the organizers via their LinkedIn page or Telegram page. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night rest for those in Nigeria. And for those in the US, have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much again. Yeah.